Hello?
Yeah.
Hey.
All working?
Hello.
I'm struggling to hear you a bit now.
How's that?
A little bit better. Can you hear me all right?
There's a problem. How's that?
Much clearer. Yeah.
Yeah, much better.
Catcher, can you hear me okay? That's the problem. The other guys can
Can everyone hear everyone?
I can hear you.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I can hear everyone.
All right, everyone. Welcome.
Catcher, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. Righty. Okay. So the running order, basically simplified, it's going to be doing introductions and then talking about the stories so far. Catch is basically our producer today, and is going to be as I'm kind of introducing things and saying, you know, I'll mention to people on the stream about what they do and that kind of thing, and then we'll get into the Book of the Graces video to show people, and then we're going to do the slate, which is the fun bit. All right, Matt's in the waiting room.
Can you give him the updated link, please?
Right. Okay.
Other than that, please, if you are watching and you want to interact, do message in the chat. We should see it coming through. We can put the chat as an overlay as well. So feel free to be active in there, and it would be great to say everyone and say hi and answer your questions on the fly.
Okay. Right. Okay. Should we make a start?
All right.
Okay. Welcome everybody to the first annual and hopefully the first ever Arclanders Assemble. And would somebody be able to get that link to Matt? Would that be in Facebook Messenger?
Yes.
Great. So thanks so much, everybody, for being here. I can already see we've got some people on the stream. What we'd love from you today is to hear from everyone who has been part of this so far. So that goes beyond just the team that's here now that I'm going to introduce in a moment, but it's the people that have backed us. It's the people that have sent us kind emails when we've been slaving at sort of 2 a.m. to write stories about strange creatures and other worlds. We've had so much kindness and friendship and support and solidarity from all of the people in our Arclander community that we decided to create an event called Arclanders Assemble, because we wanted you all to join us as part of our big Arc family, if you will. So we'd love to hear from you today. We'd love your questions, and there might be a bit of a swag giveaway. I think we can probably there's some very attractive mugs in the Arclands merch store at www.verserpg.online. So we'll be choosing somebody to walk away with one of these prestigious kind of tankards of power and lore. Okay, so before we get into the reason why we're here, the reason why we're here is because we have had over the last couple of years what we think of as being phase 1 of the Arcverse, and phase 1 has had basically 2 books in it: Arclands the Spellforger's Companion, and it's had our most recent Kickstarter, the Book of the Graces. Whoa, Matt, you have an enormous head. That's and then there was like a friendly giant that we found. Hello, Matt. You're right there.
Hello.
Matt's joining us today because he's going to be was one of our writers and designers and creators and thinkers on the Spellforger's Companion, and Matt's going to be joining us for another super exciting project that we're going to tell you all about in a little while. So phase 1 of the Arcverse was Arclands the Spellforger's Companion, which you all kindly and wonderfully helped us to launch and to kickstart. And phase 1 also was the Book of the Graces, our most recent Kickstarter, which was the first expansion book in what we call the expanded Arclands universe. That took place, the events took place, and the characters and new character origins and monsters are from the Celestial Realm. And what we're going to show you today is the continuation of the Arclands expanded universe, and the 6 or even 7 projects. Actually, now I've done some basic mental arithmetic. The 7 projects that are going to be part of that. But before I do anything else, I would like to introduce the whole team. And so I'd like to start with Katya. Katya, hello.
Hello.
Katya is the artistic visionary behind everything we do, without whom we wouldn't be able to do anything at all. So every piece of art in a book, every piece of art on our website, everything that has ever been drawn in the Arclands world was created by one person. Katya's done all the layout and the desktop publishy kind of stuff, and there's a cat behind you.
We're trying to just be very, very quiet about that.
There's a cat behind you for extra adorableness. So and Katya is going to continue to be our visionary on this. So welcome.
Visualizer. Visionaries, we're all visionaries, but the visualizer, I think, is probably the
yeah. And that sounds like a badass hitman as well. Visualize this.
Visualizer.
Yeah.
Yes, visualize this is definitely the slogan.
Yeah. Good. I'd like to welcome and introduce to you the newest member of the Arclands team. I'd like to introduce to you Seb. And Seb has very kindly taken over the management of our World Anvil. Our World Anvil being all the things that we can't get into Arclands books, that really create a richer world experience for you guys. And before, it's interesting that in the big Arclands story, when the Keeper found the universe, it was total chaos, where there's just these kind of mad, idiotic creatures walking around smashing things. Well, this is basically what happened when Seb discovered us. And now, like the Keeper, he's ordering the Arclands universe and making writers sort of behave and put things where they're meant to be. So.
Yeah. Hopefully with a different end result this time, though.
Yeah, absolutely. And okay. And next up, I'd like to introduce Alex.
Hello.
Hello, Alex. So Alex and I have spent the last few years sat in cafes around Cardiff and in late night kind of email chats talking about the complexities of the Arclands universe. We've been colliding ideas off each other for many years now, and Alex is the one that comes up with the darkest and most distressing ones, really. Yes. So the person in your life where you read through a list and go, yeah, okay, yeah, whoa, yeah. The skin cloak. That's all I got to say.
Still a personal favorite.
The skin cloak. And you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And finally, I'd like to introduce Matt. Hello again, Matt. I think Matt might have frozen there. otherwise, it's just.
Very wonderfully.
Hello.
Well, he's
I
doing
think
that
I've
thing that.
frozen.
All right, you're not doing that thing that people do on Zoom calls at work, where they pretend to be
Very
very still and hope people will leave them alone. So Matt was there from the beginning. Yeah, Matt's been there from the beginning of the Arclands universe, which began one day in Waterstone's cafe in 2015, where in a fit of kind of sleep denial, I said to Matt and Katja, "I've got this idea," and then it was after that meeting that we decided to take this crazy idea and run with it, and here we are 6 years later, and there's one other person. I introduce myself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I can take over this one
Yeah,
because
please do. Please do.
So
Yeah.
we've introduced everyone in the team, apart from obviously Nick, who is sort of the driving force, the glue that bonds us all together, and the initial seed from whence the idea came, really. So I think for all of us, I can say that without Nick, we wouldn't be here. And it's someone who has definitely brought us all together as a team.
Yeah.
And sorry, one second. I don't know who's got their microphone on, so I apologize for duplicating my voice. But Nick has been really integral into the project because he is possibly the only one who understands the world inside out, and has always been there to sort of help us work together in a really, really outstanding way, and means the world becomes part of us and part of the group, and then allows us to bring it to everyone else. So if you're ever on Twitter and you're on the social medias and you've got someone speaking back to you, that's usually Nick, because he is there as the absolute heart and soul of it. So just wanted to make sure that we also introduce you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Right. Okay. So that's the introduction out of the way. Let's now talk a little bit about the story so far from 2015 and beyond. So yes, it began in a cafe over cups of coffee and mountains of scrawlings and scribblings. Yesterday we did the same thing in a pub in Hay-on-Wye, and we planned the next universe on post-it notes. How rock and roll is that? It took us a while. It took us a while to figure out how all the pieces of Arclands fit together, and the wheels moved slowly for a year or two. But by the time we got to about 2019, 2020, we knew what we were doing, and we were able to finally get the Spellforger's Companion, with the spellforging mechanic, written and designed and launched. And the facet that really is so important is the massive, wonderful community around us all, of friends, of well-wishers, of people that just say, hey, that's a cool idea, I hope it does well. You know, you need to hear from those kinds of guys when you are having a doubting day. And that once the Spellforger's Companion was out there, that gnawing dissatisfaction that's always there in the minds of all creative geniuses, it said, you know, we've got so much more to say. We've barely scratched the surface of this universe. It isn't done. You know, we've got a whole universe to carry on with and to bring. And so we did. So we moved on to the first. There are 5 dimensions of the Arclands universe, and we moved on to the first, the celestial realm, because that's kind of the keeper's first dimension. That's the keeper's home. It's really gone to rack and ruin now. And so without further ado, what we're going to do is show you a little bit of the promotional video of the Book of the Graces. So here we can see something that's really important to the Book of the Graces, the fact that we've created an entire system of airborne combat in the Raptor mechanic. And here we've got some of the kind of the internal, the art that you get with the Book of the Graces and some of the new character origins. But because the action happens whilst flying between floating islands, we needed to find a way of making sure that players could, essentially function. There's no point in going to the celestial realm, starting off on one island and staying there. So we created the Raptor mechanic, which was a system of airborne combat, flying on giant avians, as you saw there in the video, and being able to duel in the skies with kind of epic battles. And what we tried to do in every book of the Arclands universe that we got planned is add in at least one major new piece of 5th edition games mechanics. So in the Book of the Graces, we've got the Raptor mechanic, and as we talk about the Book of the Phantasm and the Book of the Fae and other stuff that's going to come up, massive spoiler alerts there, we're going to see how new mechanics slot in there to create something entirely new and original. And I think perhaps we can talk a little bit about, we can go a little bit to the slate itself and have a look at that. So as we said, we had phase 1 of the Arclands universe, which was the Spellforger's Companion and the Book of the Graces. But coming up in phase 2 of the Arclands universe, we are beginning to we are beginning this year, starting in August, with our first ever Patreon, our first ever Patreon subscriber service called Arclands Online. So our subscribers, we're going to be sending to them bit by bit every week parts of the Arclands universe. We're going to be sending NPCs, monsters, okay. Sorry. Right. Sorry. Right. I was just reading a comment there. So we every week we're going to be sending out NPCs, monsters. We're going to be sending out magic items, and at the end of each month we'll be sending out one mini sandbox adventure for you. That's the first part of Arclands Online. In November this year, we'll be sending out a second tier of Arclands Online, and we'll be sending out an adventure that begins in the Milllands. If you've got your Spellforger's Companion, you'll know where that is, and will be a 12-month, 12-part mega adventure with a finale that is going to change the Arclands world forever. We'll be having our own apocalyptic moment, and as what you'll find as we work through, as we kind of go forward in the Arclands universe, is that there's going to be world-changing moments, that nothing stays static, nothing stays the same, and the world is in a state of a constant flux. And the Arclands Online Patreon is going to introduce you to some of the key villains of the Arclands universe, and there are some big and scary ones coming, and they're going to be making it very personal indeed. So that's Arclands Online. Okay, and so next up in the slate is, I knew it, the Book of the Phantasm. So the Book of the Phantasm is our next book in the Arclands expanded universe, and it's going to be a really, really exciting title. So, Alex, perhaps you can tell us a little bit about the Phantasm.
Okay, so the Phantasm is a sort of alternative reality in sort of embedded in the mortal realm. And well, something like, say, the mortal realm might be bound by fairly stable laws. Things are a lot more, things are in flux a lot more in the Phantasm. Reality is very changeable, and everything isn't always as it seems. And this element in particular fits into a new mechanic that we're introducing for the Phantasm, which is called intuition. And intuition really came out of a feeling that the feeling that when you start off, say, with Dungeons and Dragons, it's often a very dangerous time when you're on the earlier levels. You're just finding your feet in the game. And as you get stronger, you develop a sense of mastery, you get familiar with the world. And by the time you're level 20, you're in sort of God almost. And you might feel that you have a real sense of being a powerful being. Well, intuition in many ways undercuts that sense of mastery. And it does so by defamiliarizing the world, by shifting perception. So if I were to give you an example, say if you're walking beside a grove of trees in the Phantasm, if you've had a low level of intuition, then you might not notice anything unusual. Or if you have no intuition, that would be your experience. If your intuition was a bit higher, you might see that the trees actually have people, other adventurers embedded into them. And if you have a higher level again, you might be able to hear them whispering, but might not be able to make out what they were saying. And a very high level of intuition, you might be able to interact and talk with them and understand with them, and say, feel that they were trapped there by some spirit in the Phantasm. And this can open up sort of new quest lines, new adventures, which are hidden and embedded with areas and aspects of existing maps, which seem totally innocuous the first time you go with them. Essentially, you might not notice that there's anything significant about that corner, but it could just be waiting to be discovered, essentially. And I feel that this will give a great deal of freshness to the world. So as you go through it and as you develop it, you find that you're not getting a sense of mastery with it. The world's becoming a strange and unfamiliar and increasingly treacherous place. And although you're getting more powerful, the world is not becoming any more easy to master.
Yeah, and this is really, really important. It's about that defamiliarization, that idea that the universe is more complex than perhaps even the people that made it actually know. That so we the Book of the Phantasm is going to, once again, it's going to give you the this new mechanic, this intuition mechanic, and of course new character origins and backgrounds. It's going to give you an entirely new adventuring realm with an adventure you'll be able to play at the end of it. And it's going to be another kind of opening up of the Arclands universe. And then we've got, what do we have next? Yes. So at the end of next year or thereabouts, we will be launching Arclands 2.0. So everything that we've gained from the Spellforger's Companion, everything that we have that has grown within the Arclands universe, we're now going to revamp, redesign, redevelop, and make even better than the original version. Magic is going to get wilder and weirder. Spellforging is going to become more diverse, and again, the whole point of making Spellforging in the first place was to give players back the ability to shape the magical world around them. And there are some new directions we're going to go in with that to make it even more magic, even more personalized. So that's going to be super exciting. And once again, one of the things that's really helped us when we were creating the first Arclands, the Spellforger's Companion, was all the great feedback we had from people at conventions who would lean across our table and say, "You can't do magic like that." And then we would argue with them, and then they would be right. And then we would go, "Okay, yes, you have a valid point. We will go away and think it again." So we need those people to meet us at conventions again and say,
Exactly.
no,
or even
must
better,
not.
the people who come up to us and say, "I like the way you're doing magic, but I can create this, which allows me to attack 7 times and do them all with advantage in 1 turn because it's allowed in your rules." And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
I mean, you're correct, but also,
Yes. There is that moment when the ego takes over and you're tempted to go, "Well, we wanted that. It's because we like that." Yeah. But no. So we will always be looking for play testers and just really good friends, because friends always tell the truth, don't they? Then in 2023, we're going to be bringing you the next Kickstarter, which will be the Book of the Fae. The Fae are kind of an underexplored so far part of our world, but they're a huge fundamental one. And the Fae exist in the Scarvald, the huge, dark, and largely impenetrable forest in southern Aestus. And there will be a huge crisis and drama and conflict unfolding there, as there always is with these sorts of things. No one ever goes to a dark, scary forest and it's all right, really, do they? And so we're going to expand the universe of the Fae and give them really their pride of place with their own book in the Arclands universe. And we'll be exploring new mechanics around the functioning of time, because the Fae are hugely woven into the concept of time in the Arclands universe, and in some ways can subvert it. So be looking out for that.
Yeah. Okay. So the core mechanic for that one will be coming after time, but also more expansions on the Fae origins that we've got as well. So just giving people more freedom to sort of bring that into the material plane.
Yeah. And the project we needed Matt here to talk about is our most exciting project for 2023, which is going to be a brand new universe called Helion. And I'm going to hand over now to Katya to say a bit about Helion.
Oh, okay. So unfortunately, Matt's having some technical issues. So he is trying to come back in. So he might pop in at any moment. But Helion is basically an our first foray as Verse Online into the world of sci-fi. So we are going to be looking at the way that some civilizations have developed around this particular energy source, helion, through sort of some shattering that's happened across the world that orbits it, essentially, and how they've work together, almost like if you threw a load of beetles into a box, shook it up a little bit. So while they're fighting, they also have to fight against the box itself. And once again, it'll be working with loads of different new character origins. You're going to be able to play some really cool things and character classes, and in theory, travel through space in ships of your own design. So that's going to be really exciting. We're not entirely sure as to the mechanic that we're going to be using yet, but hopefully we'll be moving away from 5th edition during that time. So we'll be having something new and exciting there, possibly something a bit more custom, something that can be that can work, that'll lend itself more to a sci-fi based game. So keep an eye out. That's on the horizon for the second half of 2023. So hopefully getting a Kickstarter going from there, and it's going to be a hefty tome of absolute goodness.
And all the bits we can't get in the book, Seb, guess what? We're going to create a Helion World Anvil. I thought we'd just spring this on you while you were here.
Excellent. It's exciting,
now, yeah, absolutely. Now we've said it in public. You have to do it.
Yeah, there's that.
One of the things that Katya mentioned about Helion, as we're very keen on, is when we created the Spellforger's Companion, we gave players the ability to make their own magic. Helion, there is going to be far more an emphasis on being able to make your own ships, make your own tech, make your own weapons, make your own everything. The whole place is like a giant, great scrapyard, and as we all know, great inventive players can make all sorts of badass stuff with, you know, masking tape and things like that.
It's a solar system level scrap heap challenge, if you will.
Yeah.
For those of you people who are in the UK and remember the wonderful show that is Scrap Heap Challenge.
Cool. So Helion is going to be super exciting. And then we are going to, in 2024, bring you the last book in phase 2, which is the Book of Damnation. The Book of Damnation is the book about the world, the dark realm that was created by the Keeper at the beginning of time, for all the chaotic creatures he didn't like very much to be flung into the void, and that's going to wrap up phase 2. But the Book of Damnation itself is again going to be a really exciting project. And Cassia, you're going to be taking part of the lead on that, aren't you?
Yeah. So the Book of Damnation is going to be pointing slightly towards more the eldritch horror direction. So obviously, as the name suggests, damnation isn't particularly fun to be in, sort of as a creature in damnation. But as a player, hopefully you'll be able to enjoy it. And enjoy some of the weird and quite, hopefully, quite frightening things that are in there. So it'll be a bit darker than some of the other books in the Arclands expanded universe, if you will. But it'll certainly be something that's quite new while still being within the Arclands mythos.
Cool. Well, so there is the phase 2 slate. And here we're going to, do we have a little kind of, we have an animation of the next phases of Verse Online. So an animation of phase 2 itself. And here you can see the key dates of the Book of the Graces and Arclands Online, the Book of the Phantasm and Arclands 2.0, the Book of the Fae and Helion, and
and finally 2024 it'll come up in a little bit. Timing wise, could have gotten this better. I'm sorry, but yeah. So it's just as what we have coming on in the next 2.5 years to 3 years.
Yeah.
So just to be up there.
So by 2024, the Book of Damnation, and that is going to take us really all our time, patience, energy, and brain power. But the reason why we do all this is because, well, it's difficult sometimes to have a universe in your head and not share it with somebody. That's a bit of a truism for life. And we've got Phil. Phil, yes, we're going to be super busy. Thank you. Yes, indeed. So we being coming up with universes is kind of both a blessing and a curse, really. And so it's something that we're kind of always working on. And the best part about all of this is we get to share it, and we get to give it away, and we get to give it to you guys. And we've had such kind of support and solidarity and friendship and kindness and such a lot of positivity from everyone we know that we are hopelessly grateful, and it would be difficult to put into words how much it means to us. So what we aim to do constantly is to bring you new avenues in this universe to bring you joy and fun and sometimes terror. So here's our little call to action moment. What we'd like you guys to do, if this is the first time you've found us and this is the first time you've watched anything from Arclands at all, go to Verse RPG online, subscribe to the newsletter. If you do that, then you will receive all the information on everything we're doing weekly to your inbox, along with various other cool little bits of info and new articles that go out on our World Anvil and all that kind of thing. Make sure you do that as soon as you can. If you are somebody who already knows about us and one of our friends and followers and fans and people that turn up and shout at us at conventions and that sort of thing, we're really keen to hear from you in a much deeper way. If you join our Discord, you can join that through the website. Then we need you guys always for play testing, for feedback, for ideas. So come and hang out with us, and hopefully at some point, if you're in the vicinity of Cardiff, eventually when it's basically legal to do so, we'll be hanging out for coffees, So and there's some good places in town. Otherwise, Arclands wouldn't exist because that's what it was based on. So make sure you get on the mailing list. Make sure you get on the Discord. If you haven't got either your Spellforger's Companion, you can order it through the website. Or if you want to pre-order your Book of the Graces, you can pre-order that today. Again, you can do that through the website. And those that's our selection of calls to action. And I guess all it remains to say is that we're so grateful for having you with us, and we're so grateful for you guys tuning in. And if you're not watching this live, then we're so grateful for you giving us the time to watch this video. And we are now going to throw ourselves into a crazy amount of work. The spell for the Book of the Graces is going to be ready to roll out to backers and be ready to buy the real thing. We're thinking
towards September, October. So our timelines as per the Kickstarter are still very much on track. So we are very excited to sort of reaffirm that we are working to time.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, I think we can finish up, folks. Thanks so much, everybody, for this for joining us on this launch. It's been really great to have you all here today. Thanks, Alex and Katya. And thanks, Seb, very much. It's very greatly appreciated everyone being here today. And we'll finish up. And thank you so much. Take good care, everybody. All the best. Well, bye-bye.